Hello and welcome to Optional Enterprises watch list for the week of November 11th, 2019. And our first symbol this week is ticker symbol BRK/B, Berkshire Hathaway's Class B stock. And this one, we are triggered for a reversal to the downside. We're looking for a break of 221.09 for an entry down to 219.16. And then possibly down to 216.58. And a few things we want to be watching here. We've got a large concentration of open interest at these 220 calls. Maintaining the position, they lost money on Thursday or Friday, and the puts are starting to gain some interest. So fortunately, these positions are still holding, which doesn't bode well for a pullback. So we could certainly be looking at this pulling back slightly into that 219 area, holding there for a rise back up, and finally a breakout. And fully appreciate that. We're going to take this out to a week chart, and this week chart is going to show us what looks like a possible breakout zone. We see we've got a nice uptrend here, and we've been bouncing around this area. We've hit this area several times, 1, 2, 3 times. We've hit up to this 224 area, and we're looking like, on a weekly chart anyways, that a breakout is on its way through 224 all the way up, possibly finally hitting resistance around 230. But that doesn't mean we couldn't experience some pullbacks in the meantime. And that's what we're looking for this week. Market's at all-time highs, and it's just been inching higher. Now, there's nothing that says that it has to sell off, but that's what we're looking for this week. So break at 221.09 for a pullback to 219.16. Be looking for your first exit there, and then a pullback to 216.58. If, for whatever reason, the market decides it wants to go higher this way, Berkshire will probably follow suit with it, meaning a pullback to possibly to 219 and then a rise back up to a resistance to 224, and maybe even break through it. But expected move this week is about $3, so a 219 reversal definitely sounds realistic, given that we're at around 221.31 for about $3. 219.16 is a pretty good target for us. But we could still be looking at 224.07 this week. But I'm leaning bearish, so my first target is going to be 219.16 this week. So our next symbol here is ticker symbol ETN, and this one is just experiencing a breakout from all-time highs. You can see our last all-time high was 89.85, and it bounced around that area once, sold off, couldn't get there, tried to get there one last time, sold back off, and we just finally broke through it. So there are some interesting calls here that were added on November 4th, which are right here. So these calls were added on the 4th, and they were actually added on the 3rd, showed up as open interest on the 4th. So it's almost like somebody knew something here. And if we go over to our Analyze tab, we can see, okay, so they were actually added the 4th, became open interest the 5th. And you can see they were added at a price of 50 by 65. They closed out that day at 58 cents. Today, those same contracts are trading 65 by 80, or for a price of 72 cents. So they're up, modest 15 cents. And this is actually triggered for a reversal, but with these contracts, do not start showing some activity, as in people exiting them, then we could be looking at that reversal finally playing out for our first target coming down to 90.46, and maybe to retest the old highs of 89.85. Otherwise, we're looking for this to go higher, and ultimately we want us to see it break through this 92.50 area and maybe if these guys get into about 100% return, they might start exiting there. So first target, if we're going to be short this week, is going to be 90.46, then 89.85, then 89.19. However, if we do maintain and we come in with some strong volume on Monday with ETN, as you can see, we closed out pretty nice at the end of the day here. So if we can hold this 91.83 area, then I'd be looking for a long position back up through 92.50. Alright, so next symbol here is ticker symbol NKE, Nike Incorporated. And this one is triggered for a reversal to the upside. But, and I say this very, very strongly, this one is screaming short. Now we're in this gap area, which has caused a lot of sideways chop action, a lot of selling and buying back up, selling, buying back up. So we're really at a critical point for Nike. Nike, the open interest definitely suggests that we could be looking down to this 88 level and then 85, 87. However, I could be interpreting the open interest completely wrong, and we could be looking at Nike actually reversing back up, bringing us back up to this 91.82 and then 93.92. That does not seem likely though, because this is triggered for a reversal, but we got to consider where the market is right now. We are sitting firmly at all-time highs, although we did see some great buying all around the boards at the end of the day. So this reversal could be happening here, holding this zone. This very chop-like zone here, and we could be looking for that reversal back up to 91.82. This candle filled our gap, so that would confirm that the gap fill is done, and we could be looking for a straight move up. However, looking at the open interest, it definitely looks to me like looking for 85, 87, and then we might find a reversal there off of some stronger support levels. So let's take a look at it right now. And the most interesting developments, at least in my opinion, are right here. These 89.50s and 89s, which started seeing real interest on November 2nd. Now, I could be interpreting this wrong. To me, these seem like bearish ads. You can see below the market here, we do not have a great deal of interest. There's not a lot of holders, there's not a lot of big money, but where we do see a lot of big money is above the market. Now keep in mind, a lot of these positions were added weeks ago, and they're just holding because, well, there's no reason really to sell an option if it's out of the money and your security is in a downtrend. So there's really no reason to start exiting those positions if it doesn't seem like those positions are going to start going up. But if we were looking for a reversal this week, I would expect to see at least some activity over here on the calls, and always some activity below the market, which we are seeing. We saw some light players here, people selling puts, calling bottoms, but with little to no adding in the monies for the calls, and some adding here on these 89.50s and 89s, tells me that we're looking for a rise down, or a breakdown through 89, maybe looking to this 87.50 level, and then ultimately 85, 82.50 being the ultimate end but we're only looking for about $1.69 this week, so that brings us down to about that 87.50 level. And then from the 87.50 level, we could be looking at a reversal up. So I guess one more time, we'll go back to the chart. Right now, I believe We could be looking down through 88.02, finding some sort of support in this area, possibly going as low as 85.87. That's where we're looking for a reversal, confirming this trend line right here, and a reversal upwards back up to our higher support levels. So initially I am definitely looking at a short on Nike, but it is triggered for a reversal, which could happen right away, or like I believe, looking for this lower levels between the 88.02, 85, 87, and that's where I'd be looking for my initial reversal to the upside. So initially short and then long. So essentially we're looking for something kind of like this. So that's it for Nike. Let's move on to the next one. Alright folks, so next one here we've got is ticker symbol TWTR, Twitter. I know this has been on everyone's radar, especially after the earnings drop here that we see got experienced. So this one has triggered a reversal. This is the old alert. This was 10.2, and I think that was somewhere back here. Yeah, that was a pretty good play, 39 for about $1. Not great, but after this great reversal, I'm sure this is on everybody's radar. We seem to be holding this very strong weekly support level. It's around 29.41. I guess we bring it out to a week chart to better demonstrate that. So, of course, we could be looking for continuation of this down to 27.87. But we seem to be holding this support level at 29.41, which is where we want it to hold for at least a short term. Not a reversal in trend, but a possible rise back up, possibly a 50% retracement of this bar here, which we could be looking around 34.70. That's about $5 for Twitter. So we're just looking for 29.41 to hold. There's definitely some huge options being traded on Twitter right now. So let's take a look at that right here, and you can see tons of open interest right up here, around these 30s. So if we go back in time a little bit, we know that these 30 strikes were added at, I think they were 60 by 62 cents. So these guys have made about 50% on their options, and we have people adding into them at 14.52. So this definitely suggests either strong continuation, or we have these large holders exiting out of their positions for partial profits, some of them ranging from 80 to 50% wins, and we are now looking at a strong support level basing under us. We can see the 29s, 29.50s and 30s having large open interest, not a huge amount above the market, so not a whole lot of resistance, at least no big players above the market who want to focus on keeping it down. Gotta remember too is volatility environment that we're in. So Twitter is now trading, I believe, in its 11th percentile. So all that's saying really is that 11% of the volatility is traded below its current level. So does that stand a very good chance for a mean reversion? Yes, it does, which puts the edge in premium buyers, not the sellers. That is, of course, if the mean reversion is going to happen this week. So if mean reversion does happen this week, and we expect a rise in volatility, meaning a retracement up into the candle. Again, volatility is not directional. We could certainly see this go lower and still volatility expand. But if volatility is going to expand and we're going to be lower, you would think we would see more activity above the market around these areas here. Everything in this section, you would think we'd see some more activity, and there are some large buyers. We've got 34s being traded, and we had some large orders here on our 29.50s and 30s. Got to see what those turn into in the morning. And we also want to see what these all turn into. Is 7,300. There's over 12,000, 13,000 contracts traded at the 30. So a lot of activity pretty close to the market. That's telling us that we're not looking for a huge expansion, but we are definitely looking for a move in one direction or the other. Not expecting a range-bound movement in Twitter. This is triggered for reversal, so I am leaning bullish. And again, we just want to see what these are going to turn into. So, these are over here. We want to see what these turn into over here. If these are people exiting positions and exiting calls, we could be looking at a possible rise up to 31.50 this week. Which, again, that's $2. Pretty good move on Twitter. You're looking at a definite 100% return on your money if you're looking at getting in on these 30s. So that's what I'm thinking for Twitter. Definitely leaning bullish on this one. 31.50 price target. However, if we are shooting lower, then we're going down through 29.50, possibly much lower. You can see we definitely don't have a lot of support over here on the call sides. So again, that 27 area on the chart definitely looks appealing, which $27.87 being the lower area for continuation of this massive sell-off. That's it for Twitter. Let's go check out the next one. Alright, and finally we're looking at ticker symbol YUM. This one is triggered for a reversal to the upside. However, we've got some interesting calls that were added. We had 4,498 added on the 6th, which you can see were added right here into this rise. And we sold off. Now these initially were added. If we take a look right here, so here we can see the 100 strikes. Those 4,498 added at a price of 140 by 198, closed out the day at 169. Those same strikes today are trading for 45 by 50. So they've made well over 100% on this particular option. And we can see that we've got people adding into them. Now these could be more sellers coming in. More sellers coming in saying that we're not going to break 100. We're actually going to shoot down below, which definitely is supported by our near-term open interest. See, we've got some large strikes over here at the 100. Those positions holding, not adding, subtracting. Not a whole lot going on there. We had 105 traded. We'll have to see if those become ads. I suspect they will be. In which case, we could be looking down to the 95 level. You can see we have absolutely nothing holding us up on the as far as derivatives are concerned. We have much more above the market. People holding out, expecting much more of a drop on YUM. So I think we could be definitely looking at 95 this week, and then that's when the reversal is going to come into play. So stay short on this one. We want to see it stay below this 99 level, which is a fairly critical area for our month support. We take this out to a month chart. Another thing that supports this as a short position is YUM brands on our weekly and monthly charts are triggered for reversals to the downside. So you can see here that reversal on both the month and the week chart has already taken place. We 119 down to 98. That's about $22, which is a pretty good sell-off, but it may not be finished. We can see selling volume is definitely lightening up, and we are holding this 98.15, 97.29. So to stay short, we want to stay below 99.99. If for whatever reason we can hold that 99.99, then we could be looking for a rise up to 101. Keep in mind, we've only got an expected move of about $2 this week, so that gives us upwards price targets of around 101 or around 97. However, if we are on the short side, then 97 may not hold us there. Again, there's not too many derivatives that are holding us up. Look at the 97 strikes, not a whole lot going on there. We've got much more over here. It's got to depend what these are come Monday. And if you just take a quick look at the trading for these particular strikes, You can see that a lot of these were added right here. At about 1,250 added around 70 cents, and all they did was decline. So this looks like a large seller to me, and we could be looking at some more bearish activity for Yum. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you for watching my watch list. I hope it helps. Wishing you profits, and I'll talk to you next time.